So where we left off last time, let's kind of reposition ourselves, given the last couple of sessions. You guys had gone on that long set of interdimensional jaunts across the universe to stop the dimensional weapons, which were going to destroy your prime reality because of what the Cabal had done to these other dimensions. You fought your way through that, stopped that weapon, and fought the forces of the Supreme Authority behind it who had started that in the first place. You returned back to your own world to find that something had gone wrong, that it had been taken over and controlled and subsumed by the forces of Vandal Savage, who essentially calls himself Apokolips, and that in doing so he had changed the world itself, had changed time itself, and seemed to be controlling people with a mixture of science and control of parahumans and the use of these sentinels and apocalyptic technology. And you guys fled the sentinels and were able to eventually contact Charles Xavier, who gave you insight into the nature of Vandal Savage's work and how he had disrupted the Cabal and in this reality and used that as a means to gain power for himself. You eventually fought your way back to your home base, which had somehow been covered by some kind of time paradox. You eventually realized the paradox had been caused by one of these gems, the gems that you had followed throughout the adventure that had come from the very first arc of that campaign, the one that had landed with Namor's ship, and that apparently they had some paradoxical energy. You guys fought your way through the base, were able to rescue some people, and were able to get that gem out of there. You got some of your NPCs, including Leech, as well as a couple of the Furies were rescued, as well as Dr. Simeon, who appears to be, in fact, the Dr. Simeon from the alternate dimension, who keeps kind of popping up like a bad penny. You guys fled from there, did some research, followed up on some things, and realized that what you needed to do was kind of track down what had gone on, how Savage had changed things, and pinpoint that. And that was done by the investigations of Mr. Freeze and Iron Man. They were able to hack the sort of alternate reality database before the paradox collapsed, and then were able to essentially compare versions of Wikipedia. Meanwhile, while that was going on, Mr. Miracle decided it would be high time for him to pop into the Phantom Zone prison contained within the gem. And
without telling anybody else.
He did tell Leech that's what was
true.
going on. So he did tell an NPC what was happening.
At this point, it's kind of your fault for leaving me unsupervised.
I don't think that
can
flies.
be arranged. Okay, hold on, guys.
Yes? You have to take a pause here? Pause, it refreshes. This is the problem with not having a camera. I'll continue on. Okay.
I'll be back.
You're right back? Is that you going, okay, you're back, or okay, you're leaving?
No, that's... Carl said he would be right back, but you could probably continue with the synopsis.
Okay, so Mr. Miracle made his way into the Phantom Zone contained within the gems. So the gems that you guys have, you have the green gem, which you've called the Magus gem, and then the other gems are white. And I believe that you guys have 2 of those at this point. In this reality, they have shifted from being sort of shards to actually being more sort of classical, smaller cut gems. And the information you have is that Vandal Savage has others of these gems, but also seems to have other versions of the gems that you have. That there's something weird going on there with the sort of the temporal physics and the paradoxes and so on. So that's an open question. you guys made your way to the laboratories of Dr. Fenton, who 2+ years ago in real time had been the first major criminal that you guys had tracked and hunted down. A mad scientist who apparently worked with strange technologies drawn from distant times and whose mind ranged across the eons itself. You guys went in and were able to contact him and start discussing matters and trying to figure out what he could bring to the situation. Meanwhile, Mr. Miracle in the Phantom Zone found Reed Richards and went dancing through the mists of the Phantom Zone and found himself with Reed Richards and a couple of people who all seemed really nice and kind until he realized that in fact it was evil Charles Xavier and various evil X-Men who immediately set upon him. Miracle was able to just barely rescue the real Reed Richards from the clutches of this situation, and I think got his ass kind of kicked. Am I correct on that, Miracle?
That's not how I remember it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, he was near unconsciousness at the end of this situation, but was able to get out of the Phantom Zone.
He was building dramatic tension.
Yes. Get out of the Phantom Zone using essentially the recursive power of the gems to escape, and brought Richards out with him. Richards is kind of officious and was concerned that you guys had opened entry into the Phantom Zone at all, that the Cabal people needed to be trapped there, that they posed a greater danger and need to be imprisoned, and that the good guys who had done it, who went into the Phantom Zone, had made their choice. But Miracle and he had a philosophical argument on that point, which was left relatively unsettled for the moment, except to say that Miracle agreed, for at least for the moment, for this short time, to not leap back into the Phantom Zone. Correct?
Until the second when no one is looking.
It's a good thing that Mr. Freeze is away from the microphone there, and that Mr. Freeze did not hear that.
I did hear that. What did you say?
Nothing you need to worry about.
Sorry, what's going on?
So, then what ended up there finally is the group discussed with Fenton. And here is the key points. Is Savage seems to have gone back in time. You have a relative range of when he went back. Fenton can...
So, do you know what that is? Can you tell us what that is? Or does it, or is it kind of nebulous, at least in game terms?
1949.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Right after World War II?
Right after World War II. What Fenton has said is that he should be able to build a device to send you back. There are a couple of caveats on that, and caveats that are backed up by Richards. Richards has confirmed that he will keep a watch on Fenton, knowing that Fenton would pretty much prefer for you guys to be stuck in the recesses of time and never return.
Do you know anything more about when he went back in time? What's he trying to do? Did he bring anything? What's he trying to disrupt or something? Or
beyond the time and space of when he went back and what he did, they know that he manipulated affairs with the Cabal, that he went back and essentially managed to disrupt the Cabal's grip enough and divide their powers, even as they sort of destroyed the various superheroes, to use power and his apparent knowledge of history to gain control.
So, just to be clear, the Xavier that we ran into in the tunnels is probably just as twisted as the Xavier in the zone.
He seemed more benign, an older Xavier who hadn't been in power, who hadn't been corrupted by his time with the Cabal. Certainly he did not act maliciously towards you, and was helping to usher and shepherd people down into the tunnels below New York and into essentially the sanctuary, the havens created by Mole Man. But what he will tell you, what Fenton will tell you is having had in this, and we cut the scene forward a day or two, and we'll assume that during this time, all of you have been carrying out raiding missions, going and getting scientific equipment, gathering pieces. Richards and Fenton have a shopping list that they've been putting together, and so you guys have probably for the last 48 hours been running around quietly, trying to avoid Sentinel patrols, trying to avoid the Infinites, trying to avoid all those supervillain groups that are on high alert. Now
especially Miracle Man, Mr. Miracle. I'm sorry, especially him.
Yes, they're hunting for him. But as you guys will know, within the Four Horsemen, the Furies, the Dark Riders, the Infinites, all of those are out in the streets of New York. The MODOK Corps is at full alert, searching and hunting for you guys across the range of the realm. Sentinels darken the sky. Their searchlights crisscrossing. But you're able, with your skills and such, to make your way through. Though whenever you are detected now, the Sentinels will just tear the ground up. They know that you move underground. Iron Man is facing an uphill battle, trying to create more and more audacious scramblers to cover your signals. So, where we take up, you guys are in the old Fenton base from, I think, the second or third episode of the campaign. And it is filled with junk and equipment. Fenton has cannibalized that gravatic generator. It's you guys plus the two members of the Furies, Pyro and the Medic. It's also Leech. It's also Mrs. Freeze. It's also Loki's head, and it's also Sif. So there's quite a few of you here working. Fenton, still in that weird orange jumpsuit that he wears, absolutely brilliant, like Richards, but whereas Richards just seems sort of off-putting and maybe without any humility, Fenton is alien. He barely blinks. He reacts to things oddly. He does seem very, very strange. And you guys will sort of.
Now, is that consistent with our earlier?
Yes.
We didn't even. Okay, we didn't even see
You
him that
interacted
much,
with
though.
Fenton briefly, and you did some research on Fenton.
Okay.
At that time.
As part of this gathering of resources to accomplish our temporal jaunt, are we able to also get a Sentinel body for Loki, like maybe one of the more human-sized ones, to try and make him available to us as a resource as we travel?
I'm going to say no right this second. You can undertake that as a separate mission when we kind of come to that point here, because I'll talk about what's going on. Certainly you guys are going to have some options.
Senator, one thing I wanted to think about and saying, but this is with my temporal physics and my interdimensional physics, I'm trying to figure out that if the Cabal never existed in this reality, does that mean, for instance, the dimensions that they collapsed, are they up and around, or were like different? Or did he
Why
collapse
don't you make
different
a
dimensions?
Why don't you make let's say that let's what's the average of your interdimensional and temporal physics rolls?
It is 20 and 12, so 32, 16.
Okay. So go ahead and make the roll with that average.
Woo!
No, in fact, the problem is larger than just that. That what Savage has done and what has gone on is creating an even larger disruption. That seems to be building potentially towards something truly cataclysmic.
Okay, so we could like wipe out all the universes.
Yes.
Okay, I will. When Richard's alone, I will mention this to him, and I was like, "Does this square with how you're seeing it, or what?"
He will look and consider that, and he will say, "That does seem possible. I don't quite understand why, but your numbers seem to add up."
Okay.
So here is what Fenton will tell you after he's been working on this, and he will come back, and Richards will kind of admit to you, Freeze, and to the others that there comes a point at which he stops understanding what Fenton's doing.
Should I be watching this more, since maybe I'm more know what he's doing more?
Well, you probably are on Richard's level, and there is that thing where it's
nutso.
it's kind of going into kind of crazy land.
Okay.
But Fenton will tell you that he can send some of you back in time.
How many is some?
He says, "Well, I would say that the no more than 5 of you. That beyond that, and we start gaining great risk." And he'll particularly point to Mrs. Freeze and to Sif.
Oh, anybody of other dimensions?
And he will say, "Yes, as you ascertained from your earlier studies, there's a certain risk if they were to go back. They don't actually exist here."
So putting a black or a portable hole inside a bag of holding, huh?
Yes, you wouldn't want to do that. Recursive. The damage could be to the
Okay,
very
well,
fabric
5. That sounds like that's settled then.
And I'll say, the energy cost, though, is our bigger issue.
What's you need?
We will need a significant source of energy to be able to send you back.
Okay. So
What my methodology is built on certain things outside of time, and even there I move through the aether with my tangentosphere affecting the actual sort of mental calibrations, and so I'm able to sing that song across as I call to the spheres of my fathers there, and the Mi-Go are able to then transmit that energy down through the ages. But what you want is actually to head back in time physically.
Yes.
So, what kind of scale are we speaking of? Are we talking about the power source of a city, the power source of a world, the power source of a sun? What are we talking about? What scale?
You have two choices as I see it, and he'll turn to you with those kind of beady eyes, Mr. Freeze. But you may wish to see if there's another option you can come up with. One, we could collapse a dimension to send you back. Two, we could attempt to harness Vandal Savage's device, the boom tube that he is creating. We might be able to hijack its engines. But you would need your compatriots to do that and put up that fight while you went back in time.
Collapse the universe. I'm not going to start that game all over again. What if the third option was to not go back physically, but to go back and inhabit other bodies?
It's possible, but dangerous.
Well, everything's dangerous.
Cost less energy, but again, I would still be limited in numbers I could send back with any precision.
Do we know how Vandal went back? What was his method?
Fenton takes a long pause, and he goes, "I don't know."
What about these crystals? Is that what he used?
It may well be those, but he has a full set of them, which may be how he's able to do that. I do not understand them.
Well, I mean, Richard's created these, or no, I'm sorry, no, Neymar. Richard created the prisons.
Richard says, "I didn't create them. They
You
were
created
there.
the prisons,
I
though.
merely figured out how to utilize them."
Well, for instance, could we take one of these crystals? That's a dimension inside. Could we use that and collapse that dimension?
There are
Absolutely.
people inside that dimension.
Absolutely, we
still.
could.
There are mostly crazed murderers who would do nothing, and unfortunately, one hero or some
No,
heroes
he
in
will
there.
say they're only if it were possible, I would say we should definitely do that, because there are only about 24 heroes trapped in there. But the problem is, I don't think we can do that reliably without a significant chance that the Cabal will escape.
Well, we don't want that.
Okay.
But the suggestion that you make about sending people back in time, we could certainly attempt that.
Well, I was thinking that if, for instance, we did go back in time and we could inhabit certain bodies that I'm thinking of, for instance, of the bodies that were in the trophy room of the old base, for instance, the bearer of the shield, the man with the large purple pants, those types of people, that might be.
Well, I don't know if they all existed during World War II.
They existed. They did. I'm pretty sure they did. I think that's what.
Well, certainly
that's-
I could tune you to beings of preternatural energy to possess. I mean, that would be necessary given what was going on, or else you would the bodies and the beings would simply explode when I shunted you down transdimensionally.
So if we do that, what kind one that does solve? What power source will we need? How big of a power source will we need then?
Oh. He will describe a level of a power source pretty much equivalent to, remember the gate that you had to open for the dimension stuff earlier?
Right.
He will describe a power source comparable to that.
Okay. So
Well,
do we,
doesn't that power source still exist in that amusement park?
Yeah, but that's in New Jersey.
that amusement park doesn't even exist, does it?
Of course it does. Because it's also time locked like your own thing.
Okay. Well, then maybe we've got something there. Okay. So we could do that. What was it there? made it sound like that there was another problem if we did that way.
No, he says not problem per se. That there are some risks with it, but I think we should be able to do it in such a way that it won't be too terrible.
I will be looking at Richards every time he says anything, and I'm also checking with my facts that I know.
Why don't you make a roll for me and tell me what you get?
What do you want? Temporal physics or
the same average thing? I would.
Well, this is actually probably more temporal, which is weaker in my roll.
Okay.
But anyways,
I'm gonna have you make the roll there.
23.
23. Is that your final answer?
What? Oh, this is just going through this thing. And I need it. I need it. I will.
Okay.
I need it.
So is that you re-rolling? Is what you're telling me?
No, that is my final answer.
Okay. And the phrase for me the question again.
I'm just checking with everything that Fenton is saying as we go along and seeing if it's consistent with what I know.
It is consistent with what you know.
I love you. You're just the best in the world. Okay. Okay. So if we do that, we can. What do you guys think? Go into some supers bodies that we're not familiar with. Kind of a crapshoot there. Or go back. Collapsing universe sounds like a really bad idea, unless we find an empty one or something. But I don't think that's going to be likely. And the other one is going with trying to find Savage's power source, or I guess everybody who's not going goes to get the power source. Is that correct, Sam? Is that correct, Sam?
That does seem right. Let me do something. Sorry, I have to make it quick.
So probably that amusement park is part of Savage's machine.
I'm done with yours.
Is that a fair assumption, Sander?
Let me.
Would you hold on?
Since he was co-opting Cabal resources, I guess it would be a fair
Oh, he
assumption.
forgot about this
would,
one.
except that one was like some of the other ones had that problem with the temporal physics on it. So there is a significant chance that it will be
Say hi, everybody.
available. Good night, everybody.
No, don't.
Okay, hang on. I gotta quickly do one more thing here. Okay. Sorry, I'm just doing one last.
I'm gonna step away for 1 second while
Okay.
you're doing that.
Okay. So it does seem to you like the I mean, in fact, actually, Fabian, you've been doing the energy scans, right?
Yes.
Throughout this.
Yes.
Why don't you make a electronics roll for me here, since we've been using that for your scanning.
35.
Okay. One of the things you will note is, of course, when you guys went back to this base, that you were able to detect that kind of paradox going on in the area, and pick up that temporal energies. And you can cross-reference that and detect that there is some of that temporal energies also happening there at that Jersey site. You suspect it's because that was connected up with the original dimensional gate, that it's probably preserved in much the same way.
Since we left from there, that it kind of put a a lock on that, or
Yeah.
okay.
Okay, so what do you guys want? You want to go after the two choices seems to me to go after the go back as ourselves or go back as other heroes. What do you like?
Well, if we went back as well, I don't know.
Or other supers?
Our bodies would be here, but what is the likelihood? Because if we go back there as other people, and we get stranded there, we've essentially either killed ourselves or murdered the people that we have used to accomplish this.
Well, life is full of sacrifices, and we're trying to stop the collapse of the entire universe, I believe. So, I'm thinking that if you're gonna make some eggs, if you're gonna make an omelet, you gotta break some eggs.
What would be the effect of if we went back ourselves, meeting ourselves back then?
Oh,
Well, you didn't.
and Fenton will say, "Oh, you wouldn't want to do that."
But I was not born in 1949.
I was,
As was Miracle.
though I was not on Earth.
But Miracle was across the galaxy.
Maybe.
Could be.
So inhabiting bodies reduces that risk.
That is true. It does reduce the chance of a paradoxical explosion.
We would need some protection for our bodies here because
Which
I
we
can't
got.
be the only one worried about
Meeting our bodies here with Fenton.
leaving empty
one,
bodies
this one.
around Fenton.
Don't worry about that.
Not to
This one
mention
and this one, and that's it.
your
Do these
simian
three.
friend.
You have
Made an error.
Kid Miracle. You've got Mrs. Freeze. You've got Sif.
Oh, we got Loki. I'm
Pretend it's
sure
equal.
he'd be glad to watch over my
Loki.
unconscious body.
You get-
Wouldn't you,
I
Loki?
know it's 1.4.
Absolutely.
Just
Because, and
Elliot,
he'll
I can see
turn.
the area
He'll
made
say,
right here.
"Turn me around."
just
Mute
real
yourself,
simple.
Carl. Mute
Pretend
yourself,
it's an
Carl.
equal.
Mute yourself, Carl. And somebody will turn Loki's head, and he'll say, "Because if you don't do this, then the universe is destroyed, Thor." And while I would very much like to see you fall screaming into the bowels of hell, I would like to not be following that immediately after.
So much for being reformed, Loki.
Why? No, I mean, did I say I didn't want Thor destroyed? At what point did I say that?
I misunderstood some things about your the tale of your universe. I assumed, or I was under the impression, that not only did you aid him, but you were awaiting his return and confident that he would come and help you.
Absolutely. So that he could be destroyed again.
You gotta understand, Tony. My people, we're locked into our narratives.
I see.
We are eternal. Our struggle is endless until I have complete and final victory.
Right. No body for you. Okay.
It's Thor. Would you explain to him the situation?
I don't think that's...
I see complete and final victory now.
The Loki that we knew chose a different path. And I had hoped that you were cut from the same mold. But apparently not.
Well, he says, perhaps I just haven't had the opportunity to speak with this Loki. Perhaps he could convince me of the error of my ways.
Didn't we just learn that two-dimensional beings meeting each other was a bad thing?
That's temporal.
That's temporal, that's true. These are different universes. That's not so bad.
Didn't you ever see Time Cop?
Time Cop. Oh, Carl referenced Time Cop. Okay, so let us assume, if tell me if I'm getting a read on this correctly. You guys are going to go and travel to this base, make your way there, set up Fenton's machine, and project your minds backwards in time. Am I correct?
That's
Uh,
Miracle. What you're good at cutting through the garbage. What's your opinion?
Well, I mean, I think this is the course of action we have to take because the other puts our companions at far too great a risk.
Okay.
All right. So you guys will gather the equipment together, make way, prepare the various tunnels and things that you've been setting up for the sort of the last run. Distractions and explosions, ice bombs and miracle traps and Iron Man sort of detonations. Nightcrawler teleporting to distract things. Thor creating banks of fog as you break across the ruins of New York. There, again, the skies dark with sentinels and forces as you head out. And you will make your way to that location, the whole group of you. You've gathered what extra weaponry and equipment you can for the Furies. You've gathered your allies there together. Leech is in his full Mr. Miracle ensemble set up there. And you guys will arrive on site. Again, you see that flicker as the sort of the paradox goes down as you arrive, and you'll go down into that sort of underground tunnel, and you'll see that machinery and that gate device there. It looks broken, but the actual sort of machinery for generating the energy is still intact. It does look like there was some kind of battle here.
do we see machine men parts around?
Yes, they're still in bits and pieces around in the corners.
Now, how are we getting back after this whole thing is, say we're successful?
Fenton
never really heard that
Fenton will
part.
say, if you are successful, then you should just spring back naturally.
I look at Mr. Freeze.
I will.
That's as good a guess as any, sir.
It's fine. Did you do this one?
Well, maybe I'll get fortunate and my younger body will be there in the area, and that's where I'll go.
Perhaps that's what will happen, sir.
Are we possessing other people in the other any other time you said?
Yes.
Is there a choice of who do we possess?
Fenton will say, it will be as it turns out. He says, I have no idea who you will possess.
Just that they will have paranormal energy,
Yes.
so they don't explode in the showery bit of gore.
Yes.
No. Oh no.
And we're all hoping we don't get Cypher.
Jump.
So, why don't you guys get yourselves set? You'll get ready. Is there anything that you wish to say to your NPCs before you leave? Miracle, Freeze, Thor.
I do. Yes.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Go.
No, go ahead. I was doing homework there for a second.
Okay.
Stop that.
Okay. Well, I will tell her, and I will say to her that, unfortunately, apparently, we are forever an unbalanced equation. I go on this, and hopefully, we can restore many of the worlds to be what they need to be, and with hope and with luck, we will come back and be together finally at last and put all of this behind us.
And she will lean forward like you when she cries. Those tears run out for a moment, but then they freeze on her cheek. And she won't say anything. She'll just hold you for a second there before she lets you go.
I will take one of her tears.
And what about you, Thor?
I will speak with.
Sif or Loki?
Sif? Oh, I think Loki knows what the score is. I'll speak with Sif and basically say, I hate to ask it of thee again to wait for me while I go off to danger, but this technology makes it impossible for it to be otherwise. Else I would take you with me. You have proven to be a brave warrior.
Will you again promise me that you will return?
I will.
Then
Shall-
say it.
I promise thee that I shall return. And not keep you waiting long.
I'll be back.
And Miracle?
Well,
Sorry.
in immortal terms.
All right, I will approach Leech, and I will say, I don't know what these guys are being so dramatic about. There's no way we don't escape from this. But while I'm gone, I want you to take care of this, and I hand Leech the mother box. And I say, she'll show you how to use her if the need arises. And I will also tell Mother Box, despite my bravado, give instructions to Mother Box to take Leech to Hamon if I do not return.
Okay. That's quite a set of orders there that you're giving to the Mother Box. It will ask for confirmation.
Confirmation given.
All right. It will agree, and it will take a record of Kid Miracle, and we'll assess that. Nightcrawler, is there anything you want to do before you leave this world?
No, I can't really think of anything. I'm good.
Okay.
Let's go.
And what about you, Tony?
I want to find a quiet corner, and I want to start reviewing all my conversations with the engineer where she discussed her accident and how that came about.
Okay.
And I have the eidetic memory of the suit, but I, as Stark, don't have eidetic memory.
Right.
I assume just with my intelligence, I have a good memory.
Mm-hmm.
I want to essentially create a record of this that I can then, since I'm going back in time, then
You would interfere?
try and... Yes, I am. But of course, you're not part of this narrative. So try and figure out a way, or basically get the information I need to be able to give her or warn her or use to prevent this from occurring.
Okay.
I'm the giant head of Dorel.
You must not interfere.
That's why I'm doing this in a quiet corner in the quietness of my own suit and head. So
Okay. Fair
This is
enough.
the brass ring, and you're just going to save one person? Come on!
You guys will go back to the device. Fenton and Richards are carefully setting it up, getting the energies going, setting things up there, and they will essentially, he brings out a set of helmets and blocks to strap you guys to the table. Okay.
Do we happen to have the holographic projector? Well, we don't have. We can't take anything. Okay.
Can't take anything.
That's right.
Okay. So that's going to be a little more difficult. Let me hang on. Let me do one thing here. So, and you guys will get yourselves prepared. Okay. Sorry, just got to give me like 2 seconds here. If anyone wants to go grab their beverages, they should do that now, okay?
Alright, I'll be right back then.
Okay.
Oh, I suppose I should have told Sif I don't come back. Stab Loki's head. I like being petty at me though.
That should be good. Let's- And let's see here. There we go. So, do this, and we're just about set. Okay, is everybody back?
Mm-hmm.
Roll call.
Ben?
Yes.
Carl, Fabian,
I am here.
Scott, you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
I'm here.
Matt's there, so we'll give Ben another minute, and then we will get started. I'll pour myself a cup of coffee here. We are still
So
recording.
Sander, did I throw you a curveball with this, or were you ready for that?
Why would I ever answer a question like that in midstream, Carl? That's the kind of question you can ask me after the game, but you can't ask me during the game.
That's fine. I mean, if you pull out the Hulk and
If he
we end up
pulls
and you
out
pull out
five-
their character sheets, I'm gonna know. And if you... Oh, I do regret not taking that roll to see if Fenton was lying.
It's all good, sir. You don't have to worry about anything.
Hey, can I get expand critical on knowledge skills?
No, because you can't crit on... Well, actually, I guess you can crit on those. But I think the critical stuff only applies to attack rolls. It's a good question. That would be a great point suck. Improved
Well,
critical on...
All knowledge skills, wouldn't I?
I don't think I would let you do that. That would seem a little gooby, sir.
I think that feat's mainly in it for the punch-in.
It is. There's a lot of stuff that's only there for the punch-in.
Bam!
I was
Bam, you back? Okay.
Hello.
You guys will... Yeah, it's for a particular attack. You guys will gather yourselves together. You're strapped down. The cold metal of these devices, these 1950s style science helmets with the red and blue wires coming off of them on electrodes. They, you lay down and he puts them on your heads, and you guys will be moved on, and you will see over in the corner of the room. I mean, it has the look of science, but it also has the look of madness at the same time as these cyclotrons
mouth of
activate
madness.
us. And will start up, and he will start the machine, and he will say, once it begins, don't try and resist it, or your mind will be lost in time. It's not like I have the power to simply slide your mind backwards in time. Only a person who has phase shifting abilities can do that. and he will
Wait, I got a half point.
he will activate that, and you'll hear the energy start up. You'll see the things light up. You feel that sort of shift there, and you start feeling the room around you, the very boundaries of time and space shift and manipulate. And even as you do that, and things start getting warbly, faded, like from a distance, you will kind of hear, like muffled, an explosion, and maybe see a bright flash, and see figures coming into the base. In particular, Miracle, you will see at the head of this pack, this force of beings, you will see your brother Orion, Apokolips's god of war. And then, and I need everybody
That's not good.
What?
to roll a d20 for
Yes.
I hit Loki now.
13.
me. Okay, everybody
Covered.
roll.
I'm sorry. I was dealing with kids. Roll what?
Okay.
D20.
9.
Okay.
So
Nice.
pretty average right now.
A D20?
Oh
Yep.
God!
Time
Didn't
at
get
and-
10.
Okay, and Nightcrawler's the last one to roll.
Yes!
That is brilliant. Okay. So, Mr.
We are the
Freeze.
most average superheroes ever.
Let me see. So, alphabetically. Okay.
First wave in the middle of the bell curve.
Okay. So, Carl, you guys, I'm going to show you the map. You will find yourself, Carl, sitting at your base's table. But
I don't.
the
I
room
just
is
see
very
a white
Can't see
screen.
it.
I just see a white screen.
I see it.
Oh, there it goes. Okay.
Okay. It is the basis table, the table with the victory rooms and all that stuff, and there, and you will see that you are in a blue outfit, Carl,
Okay.
and you will see that there are other people seated around the table. You will see the Hulk. You'll see Captain America.
I have no idea what the Hulk is. Well, no, I've seen
You've
a
seen the
medieval.
Hulk. Yeah, you've seen a version of the Hulk. You'll see an archer guy.
Couple of them.
You'll see a woman with wings down at the end, and you see this guy in. I mean, he looks like a big robot, who's about 20 feet tall. He's got a chair specially made for him. Iron Man.
Mm.
You rolled a 12, so you're actually A, B. So you are in a. You can feel yourself. You're a guy in a giant armored battle suit, very primitive. And it's the suit itself is like 20 feet tall, but you're just this 6-foot guy in this really primitive battle suit. So this is you, big guy. Then 11. Oh God, this actually worked out really well. Miracle. You are in the body of Captain America.
I knew I had an affinity for this guy.
And you are, we'll feel that shield on your back. Nightcrawler, you rolled a 10. So you are in the body of this guy with a bow and arrow, archery thing. But your senses and your reflexes, you can feel, are incredibly heightened. Just supremely, you see everything, you sense everything. Your skills and movements are sharp and precise. And finally, Thor. This is really weird how this worked out alphabetically. Thor, you are in the body of the Hulk.
I feel like I must smash.
And you guys are all kind of sitting there quiet, and you'll hear this woman's voice, and she'll go, and then what?
Who's she looking at?
She's looking at all of you guys.
And then there was 6.
I'm now. Do I have my mind? Do I have access to other knowledge? What am I?
Nope, you have your mind.
Okay. I'm sorry, I was just there wool gathering or something like that. It must be a miracle, Cap, that we all did that at the same time.
Do we know who each other are?
What do you think it was
assume-
do you think it was a miracle, Cap, or what?
I said I do believe this is not a round table, and this is not Camelot we've arrived at.
Am
And
I,
the
am I hearing
wasp-
that it's a bad
It's a
bad
British
English accent,
accent
or it's an
that-
actual British
It's
accent?
a British accent that comes out of Green Arrow, and you will see the wasp turn and go, okay.
Yeah, he's always doing that. I think he's
Hello
playing
there.
Robin Hood. He's trying to be Robin Hood and stuff like that again.
That's, all right. What about Miracle, Iron Man, Thor?
I essentially tap my chest and say, "Good iron."
Burp, good iron. It comes out like that when you speak. Clearly, there's a voice modulator attached inside your suit.
Oh,
So guys, should we lay the cards on the table?
no, I like the magic trick for right now, since you in a particular situation, you just never know exactly what's going on.
She'll say, well, the people that Luther was sending over should be here shortly.
Okay. And tell me again, what were they coming over for? I'm sorry, I was
Are you
caught
all,
up in.
Are you all right, Ray?
No, I've been kind of feeling a little bit sick and stuff, and I've been really distracted lately, and I'm sorry, I completely missed everything. So
And she'll
Now,
kinda-
just to refresh my memory, if I may, we are in our previous base, which was a Cabal base.
yes,
So we can assume that this is a meeting of the Cabal.
yeah, exactly. Well, that
Or
may
the
not be true.
Cabal was not the original owners.
Yeah, because Hulk Hulk was killed, and so was Captain America. Did we ever see this big guy with the big guy armor?
I mentioned that there are bits and pieces of power armor in there.
What about a
Bows and
bow and
those
arrow
kind of things.
or
Yep.
or wasp wings?
Yep. In fact, if you kind of
And-
look around,
and
you'll
were those
recognize all of
were they
these
tiny?
pieces from being in the trophy case of the base that you took over.
Were they tiny?
No, they were human-sized wasp wings.
Was just remembering when we talked about all of this and Luther came up in our previous investigations, was he linked to the Cabal?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
She'll say Luther's team was coming to meet with us about sharing resources.
You know, I kind of think that that's a really bad idea.
I kind of think that was and imagine that comes out like that. And you're kind of looking for a volume control in there, Iron Man.
Okay. Can I make a tech roll to turn off this voice box?
Sure.
Modulate! Modulate!
Why don't you make a quick
Exterminate!
Exterminate.
electronics roll for me here?
Huh.
Luckily, you have a 20 in it.
Yes.
If you had fumbled, it would not have worked. But you will be able to turn that off, and then you'll talk, and the wasp goes, I thought you sound like a person.
That got annoying real quick.
Or not?
And she'll go, up, here they come.
Do I have any idea what my abilities are?
No.
Okay, I start trying to familiarize myself with any kind of combat systems that are here, assuming that this is all going to go sideways real quick.
Why don't you make an electronics roll for me there, Iron Man?
What do we know about Luther anyway?
He was head of LexCorp.
That didn't come out right.
He got killed in July 4th attack.
Oh, he did?
38.
Right, and he was the one behind the whole imprisonment of
Okay.
Namor.
Do.
Okay, 38. And I will say they're not to be trusted. Get ready.
Okay, I need to. Is there a computer? I don't go. Yeah, well, I'm kind of rusty here. Is there a computer screen or anything around here? Any kind of files or anything?
Oh, sure. It's sort of a black screen with orange letters on it. It looks like it's the height of 1960s technology.
So 1960. Oh, okay. So because it's 1940. It is 1949 though.
Yes, it is.
Okay. Yeah, Christ. Am I remotely? Am I familiar with this operating system whatsoever?
Why don't you make a computers roll for me?
$15.
And then everybody needs to roll initiative
30.
for me. You'll use your standard initiatives.
30.
Okay. Yes, you can get information out of this system. What is the query that you wish to ask?
Atom. I want to know the file on the atom.
Okay.
What are the powers of the atom?
Shrinking, growth, microscopic shrinking, microscopic growth, scientific skills, based on a belt device.
Ah, there we go. Look at this thing.
Okay. So let me roll initiatives here for the bad guys, if I may. Oh, that was good. Okay, so...
Oh shit. Is initiative based on? Oh, it's our initiative. Okay.
Yeah, we're going to use a lot of your stats here.
Yeah, that's fine.
For the purposes of things.
And that works out pretty well.
Yeah, since you have the deflect thing.
I guess my stats would be a little higher, I suppose.
Yes, we're going to kind of go with your Nightcrawler stats, and we're going to kind of sub over those powers. Is that okay with you?
Sure.
Okay.
I'm gonna take a few, I don't know, seconds, minutes to examine the quiver of arrows
Boxing glove.
I've
Okay.
got here.
So we've got Mastermind. Looks like Baron Blood, Baron Zemo, Dr. Light, the Watcher. I don't know who the top guy is.
The top guy, Manhunter there.
Martian Manhunter.
That's
And-
Oh,
White
the-
Martian.
Yeah.
White Martians is no bueno.
Who's the yellow guy?
That's radioactive man.
Oh, okay.
Chen Lu.
And what did you get, Iron Man, for your initiative?
26, sir.
26. Okay.
Is Baron Blood correct? Is that right?
Yes.
Yep.
I tried to grab Silver Age villains for you guys.
No, it's great.
So that's pretty good from you pulling that out of my ass, Carl, huh?
So
Captain
is
America!
Is it?
You're sitting there, and she's talking about that, and you will see the sort of the entry tube, the sort of shaft after thing, open up, and you will see these figures drop down in, and immediately, since you've checked some of the stuff, some of the World War II stuff, you will see the figure that comes flying down and lands there in that walkway is Captain Nazi. And that is, of course, the figure that immediately draws your attention. And you know these are not good guys.
All right.
They believe that they have the element of surprise.
Well, Captain Nazi is going to catch a shield upside the head.
Okay.
Um,
Just throwing that as a standard ranged attack.
yeah. Am I using Mr. Miracle's range attack, or does Captain America have?
Yeah, what we're going to do is we're going to shift your stuff. We'll drop your sort of the defense thing. We'll shift all that by about 3 ranks. So
All right.
so essentially shift your defense down 3 and shift your offense and stuff up 3.
All right. So that would be still not great, but not as bad as it could be.
Ooh. Well, that will hit and improve crit. So because it's Captain America with the shield, of course he has improved crit on that. So what's your standard attack rank?
My standard attack.
Standard strike, or what's your highest attack power damage?
I have like no attack powers. My damage is a 2 from my strength.
So what is your? Don't you have a? Let's see. You normally do stuns. It'd be a 13.
Stuns are 13. Yeah.
So
Unless
we're
you
gonna
want to use, does it make sense to use my shield? I have 13 ranks.
Okay.
In my shield as
so
well.
that'll be a 16. So he needs to save against a 16 plus 5 is a 21. So he needs to save against a 36. So you guys will see as soon as that opens up, and you'll see that figure come flying down, chest pressed out, tight Aryan haircut, and Captain America leaps up and throws his mighty shield. And oh, Jesus wept, staggers, stuns, and does a stun hit to Captain Nazi. Can everybody see their the nameplates on them?
No.
Okay.
No.
Sorry. Let
No.
me quickly put those up. Sorry, I had to do this on the fly. So
I can't believe it.
It's almost as if Captain Nazi chose to oppose my shield.
it is.
And found that he must yield.
You know what Hulk's thinking?
Hulk smash.
Smash.
Hulk's thinking that in the original, or they were actually coming to be our friends, but now that we've come back and attacked them unprovokedly, this is when Luthor decides that we're dangerous.
And this is what causes him. He then goes to Vandal Savage and says, "Look, we must work together." Oh yes, we should.
So
You've got
Captain America-
some nerve showing your face here, Nazi.
and I mean, just catches Nazi right in the chin and just sends him flying backwards, smashes across it, and Captain America will catch the shield. Iron Man, big guy, you're a 20-foot armored robot with effectively Iron Man's powers right now.
Okay.
Use those things.
Great. I am going to. Not being up on comic book people, I guess that's a good thing. I don't know who these things are.
Exactly.
Spoiler alert, Captain Nazi's a bad guy.
Oh, got it. Yeah. All right. And assuming the people with him are too, I'm going to take a bead on Mastermind and try and take him out.
Okay. Roll to hit.
My rank's -3, is that right?
Nope, you're doing straight up Iron Man.
Okay.
We're shifting Captain America to Miracle a little because of the build. 28 will hit. What is your damage ranks with that?
17.
17. So he needs to save against a 30.